A very good morning to, just in case you've tuned in right now, this is KTN 12 for G, and we're getting up close and personal. Now today on Up Close and Personal, we have Dr. Kizzie Shako, a certified medical practitioner working for the Ministry of Health under the Division of Forensic and Pathology Services. Dr. Kizzie is the only female police surgeon. She's also handled the victims of both the Westgate and Garissa University terror attacks. She's also involved in training of healthcare workers, police officers, lawyers and prosecutors on forensic examination, documentation, specimen collection, and handling in cases of sexual violence and death investigation cases. Dr. Kizzie joins me on Up Close and Personal right now. Thank you very much, Kizzie, for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me here.
So, well, this is all about you, and of course, I'm actually humbled or glad to actually interview you as the only female police sergeant. How did this come about?
Okay, well, what happened was the previous police surgeon, who's still there right now, but at the time he was unwell. So I was seconded to the police surgery. Yeah. And of course, my first day was completely shocking. I was overwhelmed by the workload and the nature of the work. Yeah. I actually wanted to, run away and say, no, I can't do this, but I just went ahead. It was in August 2012, 2012. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so anyway, I just decided to work through it and, try and find something good about the work, and which happened. So it's fun right now.
Yeah, and speaking of workload, is it true that you handle about 30 cases every day of, interpersonal injury, about 5 domestic violence cases, and almost 10 sexual violence cases?
Yeah, it's actually more than that.
Really? So how do you handle this kind of pressure?
Oh, well, it helps that I have a colleague, 2 colleagues actually, who we share the workload. So what happens is every week we alternate on who does the heavier cases. By heavier, we call them special cases. Special cases involves the child abuse, the rapes, and sexual violence, murder suspects, and all that. So we alternate so that you can't do it every single day, every week, every year. You know. So we take turns.
And you've handled cases of domestic violence. Maybe you can tell us usually how are these cases and what are the main causes that we have at this. We have such scenarios because I don't know if you saw the Daily Nation yesterday. One of the ladies was actually, had her limbs cut off by her husband just because she was unable to bear children, only to find that the husband is the one who was infertile. And this is something we shall be talking about in our social hour.
Well, causes. There's a lot of, very many factors will contribute to a person becoming violent, especially in a relationship setting. And most of them start through childhood. Well, many of them start through your childhood, depending on what you see, the kind of environment you grew up in. Was there, violence in the home? Maybe there was a missing parent, an alcoholic parent, a parent who's a criminal, or a caregiver who's a criminal, or engages in criminal activity. Perhaps if they were sexually abused. So all these things really affect the way a child will become as an adult. In addition, one of the things I notice almost constantly in almost all the cases is a history of drinking, alcohol, and mistress coming into the picture. Yeah, that's almost always present. As now a case like this one, where it's because of infertility issues, many men may not want to accept that they are the cause of the problem, maybe not being able to bear children. But I would have to know more to be able to comment better.
But how does it make you feel when you handle such cases, especially, and I'm not being sexist here, but especially when the woman is a victim?
It's heart-wrenching. It's really, really sad, especially when you see a woman has really tried to, she was giving her all. I even encounter many who say, I built him a house, I started him up, I started his business, and then he's, doing all these things and disappearing. So it's very sad, and it encourages me to want to...
No, sorry. My director is actually talking to me, so don't mind that.
Sorry.
I'm listening to you.
That's one of the reasons I started writing articles, so that I could help people know what to do, what not to do, things to avoid, and educate women especially on their rights and things that they should look out for.
Okay. Now, of course, this is something that we shall be talking in our third hour, and maybe you could join that discussion, but we'll see about that if time allows. But who's Dr. Kizzie?
Oh, that's a hard question.
Why?
Dr. Kizzie, she's A very ambitious young lady. Yes, young. A mother. I am, kind. I care about people a lot, and I actually feel their pain. So I've tried to, whatever it is I involve myself in, I make sure that it's helping others. So I'm really all about people. Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing about me.
Maybe to even understand you better, tell us where you were born, and let's start from your childhood.
I was born in Nairobi, born and bred in Nairobi. I'm a Nairobi girl, totally city girl.
A lot of things have been said about city girls, but we'll come to that later.
What things? So I've been born and bred here.
Yeah.
I was in school here. You want to know my schools? I was in Nairobi Academy for the better part of my school life. I joined University of Nairobi in 2000 to start my medical school. I mean, my MBCHP degree. I'm currently doing a postgraduate degree in forensic medicine, clinical forensic medicine, which is basically dealing with the living injured. So there's a lot of child abuse and units in child abuse, sexual violence, handling of the dead, disaster victim identification, and things like those, medicine and the law, ethics. Among others, there are very many.
Well, I was reading about you, and at the age of 7, if this is true, you had already developed a strong desire to find out how people died and the circumstances that led to their deaths.
Yes,
is this true?
Yes, I think it was even earlier.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? Why would you be thinking about death at such an early age?
I was totally fascinated by it. I still am. That's where I want to be eventually. But I remember I was driving, my mom was driving us, I don't know where we were going, I can't remember, and there was an accident on the road, and there was a person lying there, and he was, badly hurt.
Was he dead?
Yes, he was dead. Of course, I didn't really know that then, but now when I look back, I can tell, he must have been dead if he was still lying there, because, there was lots of blood, and people were just staring. So I remember thinking, can my mom just stop so I can look? I want to see, I want to know more, I wanted to go there and be part of it, feel, smell, see, and all that, and remember and try to figure out what happened, how did this happen, what contributed to it. So that interest has never died, never. If anything, it just grew and grew some more, which is why I ended up in medical school, because I wanted to do forensic pathology initially. But after I was posted to the city mortuary, I worked there for almost 3 years, doing autopsies all the time and crime scenes. So I realized I really wasn't that interested in pathology, but I wanted a bigger picture. So I wanted to do more of the crime scene management. So that's what I want to be.
And you've mentioned city mortuary. I've been there, but I was not able to go inside. So how was your first day there that you actually just went in, and what did you see? Don't be graphic, of course, but you can just share your experience.
It was, I was like, finally, a dream come true.
Really?
Yeah, because I had been told as I was growing up, city mortuary is where all the gory cases end up and all that. So I was like, that's where I have to be one day. So I was really surprised when I got there. I was like, I can't believe it. My dreams are coming to pass. I know it sounds crazy, but I was really excited about it. I loved it.
So you're not scared at all?
No, not at all. Not at all. It doesn't scare me at all.
A lot of misconceptions or myths surrounding the city mortuary have come up that, they handle bodies in a way they shouldn't because of lack of enough facilities, bodies get lost, among other things. Are some of these things true? Bodies
get lost? Yeah. No, I really don't know anything about that. I believe a lot of what is said out there is false most of the time. Because, I've worked there when some of these rumors are coming about, and I'm like, what on earth are they talking about? But you should see it now. It's so clean. It's a lot of changes have taken place. So it's really nice now, and it's not overcrowded. There's, the cold rooms are perfectly functional. So it's beautiful, actually. There's no smells, nothing.
So back to your education life. After University of Nairobi, where did you go to next?
Well, I joined the Masters in Forensic Medicine. It's actually a distance learning course by Monash University in Australia, in Melbourne, Australia. So I have to go there sometimes, and I'm here sometimes. Well, I'm here most of the time. Then every semester I'm supposed to be there. You have to interact with your lecturers and share what it is you've learned, and you have to see that who they're talking to is actually the person they're marking. They're mentoring through the rest of the time. Yeah, so that's currently what I'm doing. But I've done a few other things in between, quite a number.
What are these other things? I'd like to hear them.
Forensic anthropology. I've done two courses in forensic anthropology. And disaster victim identification. That's more or less about identification of human remains in disaster settings. For example, like what happened at Westgate, or any of these other disasters where you have lots and lots of victims and you're not able to identify them. So the courses help you, teach you the things that you need to understand in identification. I've had training in autopsy practice, post-mortem examinations, in other words, as well as sexual violence, child abuse. So they're quite a number.
But all these things you're mentioning has nothing to do with your initial ambition, which was to become either a musician or a flight attendant. Is this true?
Oh my God, no. Those dreams were crushed.
Why?
Musician, I'm too shy, sadly.
But you can sing?
Yes.
Bafu records, as people call it.
Yeah, well, I try. I used to sing a lot in school, in high school. I was very involved in music in high school, as well as playing musical instruments like the piano. I played the drums in church, so I was very musical. But now, because of med school and all, life happened. And so I'm not very...
So can I put you to challenge to sing right now?
Hell no.
Why?
Absolutely not. What? You want me to run out of here right now?
That would be quite
so
something.
Disappear.
Okay. What about you being a flight attendant? I would say you have the looks for that.
Well, I didn't look like this when I was younger.
What changed?
I was very large because I was on steroids for a very long time. I'm asthmatic. So, someone once told me, you're too fat, forget about it. So that dream just died right there immediately. But also, I changed my mind about many things and realized I wanted more responsibilities. Yeah.
Okay, now let's talk a bit about some of the work you've done, including, attending during the Westgate, and you handled victims of both the Westgate and Garissa University terror attacks. Let's start with the Westgate. How is this like for you?
Well, of course, when I heard about it, I was very devastated. I was upset. I felt personally violated because, these are my people. But it was, my colleagues and I, we were like, since we've gotten some training in it, these are the situations in which you train for, so now you can apply your skills here. So it was a learning experience, learning how to deal with different characters, because there was people from all over the world, different authorities.
Where were you at this point?
Westgate itself, at Nakumatt UK is where we were, we'd convened there. Yeah, so there was a lot of, and then long hours, very long hours. And because, I was from the Kenyan team, I had to be there throughout the entire time until we concluded. So it was very, very long. It was very interesting trying to put the pieces together, especially when being inside the building and seeing the destruction that had taken place. It was scary. Actually, up to now, some of us can't enter malls. We are
By
terrified.
some of us, do you mean yourself?
Yes, me and some of my colleagues. It's we really don't like it at all. At all. And there was still gunfire.
Because it went on for about 4 days.
Yeah, so there was a lot of looking for staying safe basically while it was going on. So it was a bit traumatic. Yeah.
And then, as though that was not enough, you went to Garissa. Did you go to Garissa?
No, I didn't go there. I didn't go there. We were here at Chiromo. That was very, very sad. It was actually shocking to see that, the evil side of humans can get to that level. But it was also very interesting. It was an interesting experience, painful to watch the family members going through all that pain. But again, it has to be done. So, yeah. It was okay. Now we are better now.
Especially for Garissa, it took some families days before they could identify, their sons and daughters. This was quite some pressure for you guys, wasn't it not?
Yes, there's always pressure because for one, you don't want to make mistakes. You can't afford to make mistakes. So there's always pressure to make sure you're doing the right thing, and it has to be done fast because, people want to bury their loved ones immediately and bury the right loved one immediately and to start receiving their healing and restoration. So there's always that pressure to do your best, and in a very quick, a short period of time. You don't want to prolong the process any longer than it needs to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Kizzie, through your work that you've done, have you had any acknowledgements in terms of someone recognized the achievements you've made so far?
Yes. I received an award last year by Business Daily, the top 40 under 40 women in Kenya 2015, in recognition of the work I do at the police surgery as a police surgeon, among all the other things that I've been doing. And a few people also recognize what I write, the articles I write to try and help people by encouraging others to read about it and learn a few things. I have a blog. I call it Vunja Kimya, which is, breaking the silence. So because of the things I see at the police surgery, a lot of these issues are caused by ignorance, in my opinion. Because there are many times I'm encountering victims or their families, and I ask them, why didn't you, in my mind, I'm like, why did you do that? I mean, wasn't it obvious that this is what would happen? So I decided, instead of just asking myself that, let me write it down and try and educate the community. These are the things you should avoid doing. Take care of your children like this. And if you see someone in this kind of situation, open your mouth, say something. Don't just be silent. So that's basically what I do a lot of. I'm very involved in writing articles.
So what kind of response do you get?
Positive responses so far. Many people reach out and ask for help in different situations, even if it's like maybe they are stressed by their children, they don't know what to do. Parenting is not easy. we take it for granted that our parents manage to raise us and take us to school. It's really difficult. And especially when a baby is young, under 3 years of age. So many parents will reach out and say, I'm stressed out, I don't know what to do, I just feel like banging my head against the wall. So I just try and educate them and tell them, we all go through this, and these are the people who can help you. And I try to, I do a lot of referrals and connecting people to the right agencies that can help them.
Back to your award, was it last year by the Business Daily?
Yes, last year.
Had you seen it coming?
No.
Tell me about that.
I didn't see it coming. Oh my goodness. It's actually a friend of mine. She's called Kathy. She's the one who said, I'm going to nominate you. And I thought, I didn't think much of it. I thought she was joking. And it's for really serious, super rich women. So I didn't really take it seriously at the time. But then I received phone calls and emails, telling me about the award. And I thought, wow, this is actually happening. So now later is when I came to really appreciate it, because it really opens doors and avails platforms for one to, share what it is they have to share with everyone else that could be useful to the world. So it was really exciting. It's been such a nice journey.
When you talk about open doors, maybe you can share some of the doors it has opened. Maybe has it even made you actually be more confident in yourself, perhaps?
Well, more confident. Well, I've had to be a bit more confident. Although the confidence came from going to court all the time. Wow, you just have to be super, super confident, like 150%. Otherwise, you'll be trashed. But it has given me a platform in which, like now, I'm here. So when I talk about things like abuse and violence, many people are reached at the same time. If it wasn't for this, it wouldn't have the same effect or the same impact. You understand? So that's what I mean by availing a platform for me to be able to reach out to a larger number of people.
Okay, and your duties also include, helping in training of health workers, police officers, lawyers, among other people. Talk a bit about this.
Okay, I work for the Ministry of Health in the Forensic and Pathology Services. So I'm in national government, and one of the mandates of the national government is to capacity build and to inform policy and develop policies. So I was part of the team that came up with the national guidelines for management of sexual violence. I was handling the forensic management and a bit of the law part, as well as my colleagues. So what happens is now, after coming up with that, the guidelines, we need to go and train people on it. So we go from different counties, educating a selected group of healthcare workers. And many times I'll be called just to train on, police officers on what they should do when we are handling cases of sexual violence, things like that.
Is it challenging training all these different kinds of people?
No, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's very exciting. They have to. Yeah. I'm very serious in there. No jokes. Yeah, they do. They take me seriously. Okay. I hope. I think. Yeah, I believe they do.
I hope they do too. So I'd like us, as we wrap up, to talk a bit about sexual violence, which is something you're also passionate about. What do you think should be done, especially to address this? Let's start from a legal perspective.
What should be done in a legal perspective? Well, I'm not a lawyer or a prosecutor or any of that. But I think the law covers it pretty well, especially in the Sexual Offences Act. You might want to take a look at that. It's very clear on what is an offense and what is not, and the penalties for each thing. So it's just a matter of everyone knowing their, reading about these things. And one of the things I see a lot is young men in trouble because of engaging in activity with children, minors, just because she consented or she looked old enough. People don't take the next step to actually verify age. So I really encourage people to do that a lot, because it can spare you a lot of unnecessary problems. And it's all there available in the Act. So I encourage people to read about it. Everything it's pretty well covered. Yeah.
But you've talked about the law being there, but these cases still continue. In fact, for some, they say it's on the rise.
Yes, it is on the rise. I'm seeing a lot more cases. I'd see about 3 a day initially. Now it's even 14. I mean, it's too much. I'm not really sure why that's happening. Maybe more people are reporting. That's also one of the things that's bringing about an increase in cases because of awareness. And there's also the opposite, where some people are completely unaware of what it is they're supposed to do or not do. Like now the males I'm talking about. Landing themselves in a lot of problems. But also I know there's a lot of stressors in our society. And we have this, something I've noticed in our society is this thing of women are objectified a lot, and what we have to say doesn't matter. And so that plays a very big role in the increase in violence as well.
Now, there's someone here, Patience _ E. She's asking you, if not a police surgeon, what else would you have chosen to do?
I'd be a homicide investigator.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
I think that's the funnest job ever. It's packed with action. It's exciting. It's always different. All the cases are different. Everything is, every case is unique. I like figuring things out. So engaging my brain in such activities for me is a lot of fun. Yeah, that's what I'd be.
Someone else by the name Lotan says he's actually enjoying the interview with you, and says that you are actually a good crowd. I told you it would be fine, because you told me this was your first live interview.
Yes, I was not aware, but it's okay. It's fun. It's exciting.
Okay. And so as we wrap up, perhaps your final word to girls out there, people who are listening to your story, and just give us your final word.
Well, for the girls out there, I'd like them to know that the sky is the limit. One of the things that really troubled me as I was growing up, and especially during medical school and during my internship, was the way women used to fight each other. Women really, really fight each other, which is really unnecessary. I've never understood what that's about, because I like helping. I'm happy to help all the time. I'm happy to share information.
Some say it's because girls are jealous about each other. What do you think about this argument?
I hear that's the case. I'm not that type.
All these achievements you've had, you've not found people who are fighting you just because you
I have. Very many. Very many.
So it is true?
It is. But I don't know if it's because of jealousy. I hope not, because sometimes you're thinking, why would someone way above me be jealous of what? What? I'm no competition. But women really fight each other, and it would be awesome if women could work together, pull each other up and work together as one, Then the sky is the limit. I always say if women could work together, we could rule the world, honestly. That's my honest opinion. And that girls should just be content, be confident in themselves, respect yourselves, love yourselves, and never look down on themselves or self-doubt their own thoughts, and go for what it is you want.
Now, let's do this. We're going to cross over to Christine to take some of the feedback and also take us through interactive, and then we'll come back with some of what we call up close and personal fun questions that you have to answer right after, after that. So we're not letting you go anytime now. Christine, take it over, and then...
For you.
Thank you very much, Christine, for that. Remember, we're getting up close and personal with Dr. Kizzie Shako, the only female police surgeon in the country. And of course, she has talked about some of her achievements. She's doing quite great, I must say. Time now for some fun questions right here on Up Close and Personal. In fact, Lotan Salepe asks you, do you have any other hobbies that don't involve blood or death?
Oh gosh, yeah. Yes, of course I do.
Way to start those questions.
Yeah. I like reading. Watching movies, playing with my son, spending time with my friends, my family. That's fun for me. Traveling, yes. So no blood.
Okay, no blood at all. Yeah. What kind of movies do you like watching?
Romantic comedies.
Really?
And
why?
Action movies. Why?
I'd expect you to watch, mystery and sci-fi and all that.
That doesn't interest me at all because I get frustrated. I'm like, that's a lie. They just lied, I see through it, so it kills the fun of it. Yeah.
Clint is asking whether you are a naughty kid because he says you look naughty.
No, I was a very nice child. Very. My mom always tells me that. I was nice, calm, not at all mischievous. Perfect child.
So then what was your favorite childhood memory?
Spending time with my grandmother. I loved being with my grandma in Nyeri because she used to spoil me rotten. I could get away with absolutely anything. So that's my... Any time I'm asked about my favorite childhood memories, it's with my grandma, Shosho. Okay. Yeah.
Your oddest job ever, except some would say that you're currently doing one of the oddest jobs.
Yeah, I was going to say that. This is, my work is odd all the time, every day. So that's... What else? Yeah, I think that's it.
Are people surprised when you tell them what you do?
Yes, and some don't believe me. So many times I have to go through my superiors, my senior colleagues, to maybe introduce me to someone who I'm supposed to be connecting with and tell them, yes, she actually does this, so please listen to what she has to say. Yeah.
And so what do you consider your greatest achievement?
Finally having a voice for the voiceless. Being able to speak for people who can't speak for themselves. That for me is my greatest achievement at the moment. Yeah, it makes me very happy.
So you talked about having a very busy day attending to so many people. When you get your free time, what do you do?
I just sit and then put my legs up, have a cup of tea and unwind. Or try to unwind and play with my son. That's actually very therapeutic for both of us. So yeah, and I write a lot. Yeah, that's what I do to unwind.
Do you like cooking? And if so, what's your favorite food? You don't like cooking? No. So you don't cook?
I have to cook, and I can cook, but I don't like it at all.
But you do have a favorite food meal?
Chicken wings.
Why chicken wings?
I just love chicken wings. I think because I used to see a lot of people eat them as a child. My dad was an excellent cook, and he used to cook a lot. He is an excellent cook. And that was one of his specialties. So I think that's why it's my favorite meal at the moment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
One thing that people often misunderstand about you?
One thing people misunderstand about me. They think I'm morbid. People think I'm morbid and I just love.
Just because of what you do?
Yeah, and I have no emotions. I just don't have any. It's like I'm not human, but I am, and I do feel pain, I feel sorrow, I feel all those things just like everyone else. It's just that I have the ability to work despite all that and work efficiently. Yeah.
Does what you do ever stop someone from hitting on you?
No. Well, once or twice.
Yeah. And what did they say?
When I told them what I do, they just walked off.
Like literally walked
twice
off.
That's happened. Yeah, like walks off and I'm talking. I'm like, what's happening? Yeah, so that was really weird. But otherwise, no.
Did that hurt you?
No, I found it amusing. It's very hard to hurt me.
And Paul is asking, what is your favorite holiday destination?
Where I would like to go?
Or where you have been. You can talk about both. Where you'd like to go and where you've been that you actually loved.
Where I've been, I love the coast. That's still one of my favorite destinations. It's just so, I don't see why I should go far out because that offers everything I need. Where I'd like to go, Vegas. I know it sounds funny, but that's one of the places I really must go.
Yeah, so do you like partying?
No,
really?
Not anymore, no. No, I don't. It's
but
too
you used
draining.
to? Yeah.
A bit. Kind of, yes. When I was young, in my early 20s, but now no. But I think Vegas is awesome. It's packed with activity like all the time. That's what I think. I'd like to go and actually find out for myself.
Okay. Now, Kizzie, we have to take a look at the trending video, and then we come back, wrap up with the fun questions. Let's take a look at today's trending video. Well, who would expect a police officer to be asking you such questions when they ask you to pull over? That was our trending video. Now, we're still getting up close and personal with Dr. Kizzie Shako, and you did not tell me why you talked about Vegas. So moving on to the next question. How have you managed to balance work and parenting? You talked about you have a son here. How old is he?
He'll be 4 in November. Yeah. It's really hard. Wow. It's one of the most challenging things I've ever had to go through. Yeah. Making me sometimes want to quit my job. But my family has been extremely supportive. I don't know what I'll do without my mother and my siblings, because they really help me out a lot. Yeah. And my nanny, of course. She's excellent. Yeah. So having a support system like that has really helped me move forward as opposed to stagnating for a while. Yeah.
And you mentioned that you write a lot. So what is that one book, on the contrary, that you'd like people to read?
The Bible. I think it's packed with information that everyone needs.
What's your favorite verse? Please don't say John 3:16.
I wasn't going to. I don't have one right now.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's fine. How would you like to be remembered?
My legacy, yeah? Yeah. I'd like to be remembered as the lady who had a passion to help people, the lady who made a positive impact in our society, where advocacy for abuse and violence is concerned, enabling people to come out and get help, and for enabling others to help those around them who need help. Yeah. That's what I'd really like.
Now, talk about people who influence your life, and who do you owe your success to?
People who... my mother, of course. She's my prayer partner, my prayer warrior. She's like my backbone, actually. I don't know what I'd do without her. I've said that before. I have very supportive friends, and I owe them a lot, because that's where I take my issues as well, and kind of dump on them. That's what I call it, and they take it all in and keep encouraging me. So that's really, really helpful. My dad, who has been very supportive in making sure I achieve the best education there is according to what I want. And my family doesn't judge me for what I want to do or what it is I've chosen to do. They just think, okay, and they keep pushing me forward. As well as some aunts. I have colleagues like Dr. Mena Kalsi, who has been very inspiring. She taught me a lot. As well as my boss, Dr. Odor Johansson. He's a really good mentor. And some of these other public figures I see, like Julie Gishuri, for example, she teaches me a lot, even though she doesn't know me, but I watch her and I learn so much.
From her.
Yeah.
Ken is asking, what is your most embarrassing moment?
Ooh, it's really bad. I don't think I can say it on air.
Just say it. How bad is bad?
Oh, okay, I'll give you another one. Once I was grocery shopping at a supermarket, and I slipped on Dania and fell flat on my bum with my legs in the air, as in it was so embarrassing. I almost died. Yeah, so that's my most embarrassing moment.
How did you recover from that? Did you just stand up, pretend that nothing
All the men rushed to me and helped me up. Yeah. And
did any of them ask for your number?
No. No one asked for my number, but they were really sorry. Yeah. And I was like, and just kept going like nothing had happened. Yeah. I can't afford to sit there and mope over it. So I just moved on. You'd think nothing had happened. Yeah. Yeah.
Final word now as we wrap up, quotes that you live by, and maybe your final word to girls out there as well.
Quote that I live by, gosh, there are so many. But one of the quotes, my favorite one, saving one life is better than none. That's actually my own, as far as I know, because I think it's very important to care about everyone equally, regardless of who they are, where they're from, race, tribe, doesn't matter. Everyone is human, everyone is equal, and we need to care about each other the same way. Yeah.
So, Dr. Kizzie, final question. Can I get your number? And that is where we wrap up Up Close and Personal right here on KTN4 for G. We take a short commercial break. Remember, after the break, we're having a very serious discussion in regard to infertility and the effects it has on society and families, and especially marriages. We're tying that down to domestic violence. It's a conversation you do not want to miss. We take a short commercial break as I get Dr. Kizzie's number.